This is Jay Harrison, Bharat Rao, and Bala Mulath. Bala's on his way, I take it. He should be here shortly. So Bala's our third colleague. With Chris Taylor at Jefferson Hotel, 7th of May. It's approximately 11 o'clock a.m. We're going to talk about defense innovation. And there's no one better to talk to about defense innovation than Chris Taylor.
I feel the same way.
Thanks for coming out, Chris.
Yeah, of course.
So you've been in this game for a long time. Have been
Not as long as you.
well. I don't know if I would actually call Blackwater one of the first big disruptions of the defense industry
I would absolutely agree.
that ever happened. And we got to see the results of what happens when you try to disrupt the
Yes.
the defense industry. So I would say we've probably been at it about the same length of time. The research that we're primarily focused on is the competencies associated with how the Department of Defense can become a more innovating organization. But we're not going to restrict our questions to that. We're just looking to get a sense of your experience in this space, what you've observed, what you've learned, areas of concern, areas of opportunity that we should be aware of in terms of our analysis and our thinking. So let's start with that. How would you say you began, either directly or peripherally, your involvement with defense innovation in the defense sector? And you can go back to your military days.
Yeah, no, I was about to say, I think probably the first experience in innovation was as a young infantryman, where anything and everything can happen to you, and you need to innovate your way into or out of something. I think young Lance Corporals across the Marine Corps and their equivalents across the services actually create innovative breakthroughs every day, particularly in combat. So that would be my first sort of experience with having to seek a new way to find a stronger value proposition in the moment, particularly, which could be a loose definition.
What was it about we've heard a lot of people say this. What is it about the combat environment, the tactical environment that promotes either the ability to innovate or gives people license to innovate?
So it's interesting. The old adage, you fight like you train, is actually not true. It's true a little bit, a lot of it, maybe 60%. The other 40% is all of the things that you have to do that don't fit in to how you trained, but that training gives you the confidence and the clarity in the moment to be able to innovate for that other 30-40% of the time that you need, that training and process doesn't really cover. Does that make sense?
It does. Do you think that part of that training process relates to your relationship with your peers and in terms of whether or not your solutions or your approach would be accepted by them? I mean, that you've trained with them, that you've gotten to know them.
So I do think that helps quite a bit. I would also say, though, that the cream rises to the top. So in any organization, there are going to be people who prove to be more adept at solving right now problems, and so they become sort of known for that. But the interesting twist to that is they turn out to be supporting, but in the moment we don't know that it's supporting. All the activities that the rest of the team are doing actually enables that, right? So the idea that there is no great man syndrome, right? Because everything happening around you isn't happening in a vacuum. Therefore, had somebody that you couldn't see not done something to prevent you from being injured in the moment while you were technically trying to innovate your way through a problem, you'd either be injured or dead, right? So there's people who think well in the moment and get things done, but it's never by itself, because a team is always doing what it needs to do that enables that allows that to happen.
So everybody's got a role.
Everybody has a role.
So if I can jump in, you said innovate your way through a problem. So typically, are you talking about more of a people type situation, or is it technical? Is it, how would you sort of qualify those innovations?
I think it spans the entire spectrum. So sometimes it's people, sometimes it's the right now use of technology, either in the way that the technology was intended or part of a
Sort of re-engineering.
of something in the moment to solve a particular problem. I think those things happen all the time, particularly on the battlefield. And I think they happen in the rear as well. I think, I used to say, you leave enough Lance Corporals alone for a while with a room full of stuff, they're going to build something. And that something is either going to be remarkable or it's going to be, something that was fun. But the great thing about particularly young enlisted folks is that they're the ones who are facing the majority of the harsh environment, so they're the ones who think first about how to survive that and what they need to do it. So
So they're extremely self